So the project I am right now is going to be replacing some bearings on my landscape trailer. So I was coming home and this bearing blew out. As you can see, it's kind of very floppy everywhere. So I got the tire off. So I'm going to now go ahead and remove the cotter pin with castle nut, which is just on there kind of loose. Then we can take this drum off. Oh yeah, rip those bad boys up. There's that. The races are still in there. Now this is the same thing that happened on the opposite side. It seems like the clip came off, but it looks like we got grease pretty much everywhere in here. It also chewed up this wire right here, so we're gonna have to patch that. So we're gonna need another clip. We're gonna need that. We're gonna need the bearings, but these dust shield's still on here. I need to tie this up somewhere. Just keep it out of the way. Yeah, this race is still there, and so is the back one, it looks like. And then the races are still on the inside of the hub itself. So I'm going to clean this up a little bit, and then we will get this first race off. They have bearing pullers that you can kind of clip on there, and you crank them down, and it pulls that race off by connecting right here. But I don't have one of those, so at this point I'm probably just going to take a little punch and try and beat it off. I could also take an angle grinder and cut maybe a little relief cut in there, and maybe break it on both sides. It just kind of depends on how it's going to turn out. Now when I replaced the ones on the opposite side, that hub wouldn't actually come off because the rear race was actually keeping it on. So what I had to do was undo the bolts for this back dust shield and actually pull the whole thing off, which would be the brake pads, and pretty much everything on the inside had to come off. And then I was able to get it off the hub because this whole thing came. Now don't throw away any pieces from the bearing just yet, because they're going to have numbers on them for when you need to get the new ones. Okay, so it looks like there's kind of already a relief cut into it from when it heated up. It might have cracked, and it's moving pretty well. The last one on the other side, it took me probably half an hour just to beat this front race off. But yeah, we're just gonna go back and forth on it. So we can get it far enough that it'll come off. This one was a lot easier than the other one, but you can see if I can get you to see this here. There was, it actually broke it because it was heated up so much. Okay, so now I should be able to perfect. Take that off. Turn it. Pretty much just sit it here. It'll just kind of hang a little bit. I don't like that, but There we go. Now it's hanging by the bungee instead of the wires. And this can just sit there. It's already starting to move. Now we'll come to this side over here. There we go. That into focus. Yep, there it is. That is L68149. Now these are Dexter hubs, which is where the bearings came from. And they are 3,500 pound axles. It's just a regular landscape trailer, so they might actually be the same. Can't tell. Maybe it might be that. Back and forth. I'm gonna feel it move. There, game. And okay, so now we're gonna take this piece, bang it down into there, and take the bigger one from the back. Make sure that the bearing is actually going to actually fit in there. So this way is wrong, so you got to beat it in this way so it sits down in there. You take this 1 7/8 socket, put it over top of there. Now, then eventually you will get to a point where you gotta get a smaller socket than this. It's gonna be too big. So, this one here is 1 3/4 inches. Just kind of sit it on there. Make sure that we're seated all the way down through there. Comes in from the front. Comes in from the front like that. So it's got to sit down this way. Okay, so all the electrical is now done. Take some 120 grit sandpaper, get some of that rougher stuff out of the bottom here. Okay, so before you put the whole thing on, take a bearing, put it on there, put it the way that it's gonna go. Make sure it fits on there. See, right now it doesn't fit on there, so that means that this is too big. So we gotta take some sandpaper, take it down. There we go. See how that slides on there real good? Now you can get this on there. See, that one there isn't a huge deal, because if you get that seated in there good, it's not going to come off with this. You don't need to have that come out in order to get this off, but that one needs to fit on there good, or else it's going to be a pain to get this off. To swap out the brakes. And thing sucks. I hate this ratchet. Use it. project. That castle nut's only supposed to be hand tight plus a little bit. You don't want it to be cranked down too much. Three, there's 4, there's 5, there's 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. That should be enough. Dust cover, and then that should be it. So I'm gonna go ahead around to the other ones that haven't blown yet, so the other 2 tires, and do the same thing. I have this one jacked up already. I'm gonna grease these bad boys up just in case they need a little bit more grease, and that's why they're blowing. So that's going to be the end of this project. If there's any tips that you guys have that would make this a little bit easier, or what I did wrong, just let me know, and I will take that into consideration when these other two bearings decide to go in the next 34 hours.